Hi Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to today's reading of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We'll start with Jai Radha Madhava. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jaya Radha Madhava
Kunja Vihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari
Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari
Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari
Jaya Gopijana Vallabha
Girivardhari
Yashodanandan Braj Jana Ranjana Yashodanandan Braj Jana Ranjana Munatira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Amunatira Vanachari
Yamuna
Tira
Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jaya
Radha Madhava Bihari
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama
Rama Rama
Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
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 Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Rama, Hare
Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Hare Rama Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare
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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare
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 Rama
Hare
Rama Rama
Rama
Rama
Rama
Hare
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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare
Hare
Rama Rama
Rama
Rama
Rama, Hare Hare.
Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai.
Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya
Prabhupada
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Jai Gaura Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Haribo,
Hari
Haribo,
Bol. Hari
Haribo,
Bol.
Nitai Gaura Haribo.
स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ईटी फाउंडर श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय अमृतपाद परमहंस परिविराजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। कृष्ण वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से गौ श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजो राम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी महारानी की समावेत भक्त वृंद की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। बृहद मृदंग की जय। गौर प्रेम हरि all glories to assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare
All
Krishna.
glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim
Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayam Mudirayet
Tato Jai Mudiraye
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam
Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttamashloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki
Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusha
Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusha
Sarva Vedaika Satphala
Sarva Vedaika Satphala
Sarva Siddhanta Ratnadya
Sarva Siddhanta Ratnabhya
Sarva Lokaika Trikprada
Sarva Lokaya Dikprada
Sarva Bhagavata Prana
Sarva Bhagavata Prana
Śrīmad-Bhāgavata Prabhu
Śrīmad-Bhāgavata Prabhu
Kali Dvantodidaditya
Kalidvantoditaditya
Shri Krishna Parivartita
Shri Krishna Parivartita
Paramananda Pataya
Paramananda Pataya
Prema Varshi Aksharayate
Prema Varshi Akshayate
Sarvada Sarvasevyaya
Sarvada Sarvasevaya
Shri Krishnaya Namostume
Shri Krishna Namostume
Madeka Bandho Matsangin
Madeka Bandho Matsangin
Madguru Manmahatana
Madguru Manmahatana
Mannistaraka Madbhagya
Mannistaraka Madbhagya
Madhananda Namostute
Madhananda
Namostute
Asadu Sadhu Tadain
Asadu Sadhutayin
Ati Nichochakatakara
Ati Nichochakatakara
Hana Muncha Kadachinmam
Anamunchakadacinmam
Premna Hritkantayosphura
Premna Hritkantayosphura
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's glorification of Bhagavatam. We are in canto number 5, the creative impetus, chapter number 1, the activities of Maharaj Priyavrata, and we are in text number 13. Bhavaya nashaya cha karma kartum
भवाय नाशाय च कर्म कर्तुम्
shokaya mohaya sada bhavaya
शोकाय
Maya Maya
मोहाय सदा
Sada
भयाय
Vayaya
sukhaya dukkhaya sacha dehayoham
सुखाय
Dukhaya
दुःखाय च
Yogam
देहयोगाय
avyakta jatatang gadatte
Avyakadishtam
अव्यक्तदिष्टं जनतां
Janatate
गतते
bhavaya nashaya cha karma kartum
भवाय
Bhavaya
नाशाय च कर्म कर्तुम्
shokaya mohaya sada bhayaya
लोकाय मोहाय सदा भयाय
shukaya dukkhaya cha dehayoham
दुःखाय दुःखाय
Dukhaya
च
Chadeha
देहयोगम्
Yogam
avyakta janatang gadatte
अव्यक्तदिष्टं
Janatam Gadate
Vayaya nashaya cha karma kartum
Bhavaya Nashaya Chakarma Katum
shokaya mohaya sada bhayaya
Shokaya
Mohaya Sada Bhaya
Jadabhaya
shukaya dukkhaya cha deha yogam
Sukhaya
Dukhaya
Dukhaya Dehayogam
avyakta janatang gadatte.
अव्यक्तदिष्टं जनतां दत्ते
Devotees, please recite.
भवाय नाशाय च कर्म कर्तुम्
Bhavaya
भवाय
Jaya
नाशाय
Chakarma
कर्तुम्
Kartam
शोकाय मोहाय सदा भयाय
shokaya
शोकाय मोहाय
mohaya
सदा
sada
भयाय
bhayaya
दुःखाय दुःखाय च देहयोग
Sukhaya
सुखाय
dukkhaya
दुःखाय
cha
च
deha yogam
देहयोगम् अव्यक्तदिष्टं जनतां गदते
avyaktam
अव्यक्तदिष्टं
janatang
जनतां दत्ते भवाय नाशाय च कर्म कर्तुम्
Bhavaya nashaya karma
कर्म
kartum
कर्तुम् शोकाय मोहाय सदा भयाय
shokaya
मोहाय सदा भयाय
दुःखाय दुःखाय च देहयोगम्
shokaya dukkhaya
Dukhaya
yoham
Chadeha
अव्यक्तदिष्टं जनतां धत्ते
अव्यक्तदिष्टं
avyakta
जनतां
जनतां
गदते
दत्ते
भवाय नाशाय च कर्म कर्तुम्
भवाय
Bhavaya
नाशाय
nashaya cha karma
कर्म
kartum
कर्तुम्
शोकाय मोहाय सदा भयाय
shokaya
शोकाय
mohaya
मोहाय
sada
सदा
bhayaya
भयाय
दुःखाय दुःखाय च देहयोगम् सुखाय
dukkaya dukkaya cha
दुःखाय च
deha yoham
देहयोगम्
योगम्
अव्यक्तदिष्टां जनतां धत्ते
avyakta
अव्यक्तदिष्टां जनतां दत्ते
Bhavaya Nashaya Chakarma Kartum
भवाय
नाशाय
नाशाय
Naşaya
च
च
çakarma
कर्म
kartum
कर्तुम्
Shokaya Mohaya Sada Bhayaya
शोकाय
Şokaya
दुःखाय
मोहाय
mohaya
दुःखां
सदा
भयाय
भयाय
vahaya
Shokaya Dukhaya Chadehayogam
दुःखाय
Kaya
दुःखाय
dukkaya ca deha yoho
देहयोगम्
Avyakta Dishtam Janatang Gadatte
Avyakta-dishtam janatang dhatte.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll move to the word. Bhavaya,
Bhavaya.
for birth.
For birth.
Nashaya,
Nashaya.
for death.
For
For
death.
death.
Cha,
Cha.
also.
Also.
Karma,
Karma.
activity.
Activity.
Kartum,
Kartum.
Kartum.
to do.
To do.
Shokaya,
Shokaya.
for bereavement.
For
For
bereavement.
bereavement.
Mohaya,
Mohaya.
for illusion.
For
For
illusion.
illusion.
Sada,
Sada.
Sada.
always.
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 Bhayaya,
Bhayaya.
Bhayaya.
for fear.
For
For
fear.
fear.
Sukhaya,
Sukhaya.
Dukhaya.
for happiness.
For
For
happiness.
happiness.
Dukhaya,
Dukhaya.
for distress.
For
For
distress.
distress.
Cha,
Cha.
Cha.
also.
Also.
Dega yogam,
Deha
Deha
yoga.
yogam.
connection with the material body.
Connection with the
Connection with the
material body.
material body.
Avyakta,
Avyakta.
by the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
By the
By the
Supreme
Supreme
Personality of
Personality
Godhead.
of Godhead.
Dishtam,
Dishtam.
Dishtam.
directed.
Directed.
Janata,
Janata.
Janata.
the living entities.
The
The
living
living
entities.
entities.
Anga,
Anga.
Anga.
O Priyavrata.
O Priyavrata.
Datte,
Dhatte.
Datte.
accept.
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 Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
My dear Priyavrata, by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all living entities accept different types of bodies for birth and death, activity, lamentation, illusion, fear of future dangers, and happiness and distress. Kindly repeat. My dear Priyavrata,
My dear
Dear
Priyavrata.
Priyavrata.
by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
By the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
all living entities
All living
Living
entities.
entities.
accept different types of bodies
Accept different types of bodies.
bodies.
for birth and death,
For birth
For
and
birth
death.
and death.
activity,
Activity.
lamentation,
Lamentation.
illusion,
Illusion.
fear of future dangers,
Fear of
Fear of
future
future
dangers.
dangers.
and happiness and distress.
And
And
happiness
happiness
and
and
distress.
Kindly hear the purport. Every living entity who has come into this material world has come here for material enjoyment. But according to his karma activities, he must accept a certain type of body given to him by material nature under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 27th verse, Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha. Everything is being done by Prakriti, material nature, under the direction of the Supreme Lord. Modern scientists do not know why there are varieties of bodies in the 8.4 million forms. The fact is that these bodies are ordained for living entities by the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to the living entities' desires. He gives the living entities freedom to act as they like, but on the other hand, they must accept a body according to the reaction of their activities. Thus, there are different types of bodies. Some living entities have short durations of time, whereas others live for fantastic durations. Every one of them, however, from Brahma down to the ant, acts according to the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is sitting in everyone's heart. As is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse 15, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smritiryanam aponhamanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. It is not a fact, however, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead gives direction to certain living entities in one way and other living entities in another way. The truth is that every living entity has a certain desire, and the Supreme Lord gives him a chance to fulfill it. The best course, therefore, is to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead and act according to his desire. One who does so is liberated. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakhrujatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrind Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. So today's verse, भवाय नाशाय च कर्म कर्तुं शोकाय मोहाय सदा भयाय सुखाय दुःखाय च देहयोगम् अव्यक्तदिष्टं जनतां गदत्ते. My dear Priyavrata, by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all living entities accept different types of bodies for birth and death, activity, lamentation, illusion, fear of future dangers, and happiness and distress. So, we started this canto, and this is the first chapter in Canto 5. Of course, this initial part is a little bit more straightforward than what we will come to see later on in the Canto 5, which deals with the cosmology of this universe, which challenges us in more ways more than one. But in here, what we are seeing is we looked at the lineage of Swayambhu Manu through his son Uttanapada, and now we are looking at his other son Priyavrata. Priyavrata initially, on the advice of Narad Muni, took to to carrying out devotional service for the Lord alone, giving up this world. But now Swayambhu Manu came to him with a request to come back and take over the administration of this universe and actually become a grahastha and do it. Priyavrata himself was not inclined to this. So at this point, therefore, Lord Brahma comes down and he is addressing Maharaj Priyavrata. So in the earlier two verses to this, which is directly attributed to Lord Brahma, it says, the first one, he says, "My dear Priyavrata, kindly hear attentively what I shall say to you. Do not be jealous of the Supreme Lord, who is beyond our experimental measures. All of us, including Lord Shiva, your father, and the great Maharishi Narada, must carry out the order of the Supreme. We cannot deviate from this order." And in verse 12, he says, "One cannot avoid the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not by the strength of severe austerities and exalted Vedic education, or the power of mystic yoga, physical prowess, or intellectual activities. Nor can one use his power of religion, his material opulence, or any other means, either by himself or with the help of others, to defy the orders of the Supreme Lord. That is not possible for any living being, from Brahma down to the ant. And in today's verse, he's saying, my dear Priyavrata, by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all living entities accept different types of bodies for birth and death, activity, lamentation, illusion, fear of future dangers, and happiness and distress. So herein, these three verses so far, Lord Brahma is pointing out the things that, again, Krishna has spoken in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, first, do not be jealous of the Lord. Why? Because it is that jealousy towards the Lord, or the envy towards the Lord, that makes us come to this material world. When we actually are envious of the Lord, envious of his enjoyment potency that is there, we also want to enjoy similarly. We want to give up our enjoyment which arises out of the enjoyment of the Lord and want to have enjoyment independent of the Lord. Therefore, if we are to get out of this world, we have to drop this aspect of envy towards the Lord. Without dropping this, we can never go back into the spiritual world. Therefore, he says that nobody can deviate from his order. So, again, in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord very clearly says, you just surrender unto me and I will take care of everything. Surrender is not possible to a person whom we envy. Surrender is not possible when we have enviousness even towards others, not even towards the Lord, but even towards others. It's not possible. Therefore, if we have to come to this point of surrender, dropping this envy towards the Lord and other living entities, how can we do this? That we can come to understand only if we understand how we are tied up in this world. Here in this verse, it talks about the fact that the living entities accept different bodies for birth. That we all know. How? Because, as Prabhupada writes in the purport, that these bodies are ordained for the living entities by the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to the living entities' desires. So our desires are the cause for the different types of bodies we inhabit in this material world. And why do we get these bodies? Because we wanted to enjoy. When we wanted to enjoy, Krishna gives us a body that will help in that. And Prabhupada writes that the Lord gives the living entities freedom to act as they like. Yes, the Lord gives us the free will with which we can act. But that ability to enjoy or ability to act does not come without repercussions, without reactions that accompany it. So he says, but on the other hand, they must accept a body according to the reaction of their activities. So we desire something, we get a body according to that desire, then we carry out activities in that body. And when we carry out activities in that body, then we get reactions. Those reactions in turn create the next body that we want, that we get. And in this way, our cycle keeps on going in this world. So, having fallen into this world, what happens is we keep on continuing to inhabit many different kinds of bodies. So, where do these bodies come from? As is given, as Prabhupada quotes verse 27 of chapter 3, prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha. That this material nature, which is under the direction of the Supreme Lord, provides the different kinds of bodies. So that means that this body that we have got is owned by material nature in one way. Because everything is owned by the Lord, but in this case, directly by material nature. So the body, both the gross and the subtle body that we have, is owned by material nature. But then we want to enjoy. So how is it possible for the soul to enjoy? The thing is that the soul thinks that it enjoys by identifying itself with the body. In actuality, the soul does not enjoy in this material world. The soul does enjoy, but the soul actually enjoys only in the spiritual world. In the material world, it thinks it enjoys. It thinks because it identifies itself with the gross and the subtle body that it enjoys. It thinks that the activities that it does through the material body brings enjoyment to itself. But in actuality, the soul does not. So the next question comes is, who is that enjoyer? If the soul is not enjoying in this world, who is that enjoyer? The point is, the soul's identification with the body causes it to think that it is the enjoyer. So if it causes it to think it is the enjoyer, then what is it that actually enjoys? The mind, which thinks that these activities bring some pleasure to it, something which it wants. When it happens, the mind creates the illusion of enjoyment in this world. And it is the mind which is the biggest, what to say, the thing that ties up us into this world. So in the 11th canto, in the song of the Avanti Brahmana, the Brahmana, he talks about this very nicely. He says, Nayam janome sukadukka hetur na devatatma griha karma kalaha manaparam karanam amananti samsara chaktam parivartayetat. He says, the Brahmana says, these people are not the cause of my happiness or distress, neither are the demigods, my own body, the planets, my past work or time. Rather, it is the mind alone that causes happiness and distress and perpetuates the rotation of this material life. So, very clearly, it is pointed out that the mind is the cause of us perceiving happiness or distress in this world. And when the mind perceives this, it perpetuates this thinking that if I do certain activities, I get happiness. If I do certain other activities, I get distress. So I want to avoid distress and I want to get happiness. What this actually gets out of this equation is what this world is. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, this world is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. So that means that this world is created for the purpose of showing distress to you. That means that any amount of happiness that you may get or you may seem to get in this world is never going to be permanent. It is never going to be enough. It is not going to actually satisfy you, because that is, in one sense, an illusion created by the mind that there is happiness in this world. So the body and the mind through which that happiness is perceived is not true. But the soul, which has identified itself with the body and the mind, therefore thinks that this is what is really happening. Because otherwise, it is not possible for it to. Yet again, in Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, 22nd verse, Krishna says, Purusha prakritisto hi bhunte prakriti jan guna karanam guna sangasya sad yoni sad asad yoni janmesu. That means the living entity in material nature thus follows the wage of life, enjoying the three modes of material nature. This is due to his association with material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil amongst all species. So, this body, which is a product of material nature, in association by which the soul perceives itself as the body, therefore follows through in this world trying to enjoy, although it is through the three modes of material nature. Therefore, seeing the world through these three modes of material nature, he meets with good and evil amongst various species. So, the point is, when we wrongly identify the dress that is covering the body with the body itself, because that is what Krishna explains in chapter 2. He says that this body that we have got is like the dress, and when the dress is no longer suitable for wearing, we discard that and we put on a new dress. So in that same way, this soul also discards one body and takes on another body. So therefore, this aspect, we are very happy to accept this dress and the body concept. But when it comes to the actual soul, and which is us and the body, we have got a lot of attachment to this body. And therefore, the living entity keeps thinking himself that he is this body. We might say, oh, we have all understood that we are not this body. We are the soul. But the real question that we have to think about is, how are we actually acting? Are we acting in a way that we are not this body? Because when we really come to that point where we are acting in the fashion that we are not this body, then we have really accepted who we are. Until we come to that point, we are all acting in varying different grades of I am this body. There may be people out in the world who do not even care about that, who they are, and they may be totally acting on that platform of I am this body. Yet others who may have largely understood but still not completely. So there might be varying grades, there might be varying proportions, but still there is action on the platform of I am this body. And as long as that platform is there, one has to have all these things that is there. Therefore, the verse says that we get different types of bodies for birth and death. That is easy to understand. We give up one body and we take on the other body, and it is a birth in that body. And when that body's activities are finished, then there is death. Then we do that for the activity itself. Why? Because we have desires. When we have desire, the Lord, through the material nature, is giving us a body to fulfill that desire. And when we try to fulfill, how do we actually try to fulfill that desire? By acting in this world. Therefore, when we accept a body, activity comes along with it. And this activity, when it is performed without the consideration of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is going to keep us entangled in this world, in this cycle of birth, death, old age, disease. It keeps us go cycle after cycle after cycle. We keep going through this. We cannot get out of it. Then out of the activity comes lamentation. Why? Principally, the activities are oriented towards trying to enjoy in this world. And when we try to enjoy in this world, lamentation comes. Why? Because we put in so much of effort, but we don't get the enjoyment that we want. Or we are worried that whatever enjoyment that I have received, that might be taken away. So therefore, that lamentation, wanting, getting so many different things, that happens to us. We are looking and looking, trying to enjoy, and we never get that. So that lamentation comes. Along with that comes illusion. Why? Illusion is the biggest factor that keeps us go on trying for something which we can never get. If there is no illusion, then we would be very clear that, okay, what I am doing is not actually getting the result, therefore I have to give it up. But in the illusion that there is this fruit, there is something at the end of this journey that I am wanting, there is something that will give me the pleasure that I am looking for. That illusion keeps us holding on to things of this world, keeping on doing the same activities which have not brought us any result. So in that nature, that we keep doing the same things again and again and again, and even though we know that we have not got the result in the past, we think somehow or another the result is going to be different this time around. That illusion is what keeps us going in this world. And similar to that, if somehow or another we get some result, if we get something and we are a little bit comfortably situated now, then we fear what the future brings. What will happen if I lose the position that I'm holding on to? What happens if I lose the current situations which are favorable for me? What happens if my enjoyment that I'm supposedly having now is taken away? That fear of future is the biggest dampener on our enjoyment. And in this way, that connection with the body is the cause for happiness and distress in this world. So the mind, which is the repository of all various interactions that we have and the results that come out of those interactions, is driving all of this. When we cannot understand that, we engage in these activities again and again and again, and these activities generate results, reactions, and those reactions determine what kind of body you must be taking on the next time. Until we come to a point, why is this happening to me? Why, in spite of my consistent efforts to get enjoyment in this world, I am not getting it? Why, in spite of the fact that I feel that I am eternal, I am facing death? Because everybody who thinks I am this body is worried about death, because they don't know who they are. They think they are the body, and therefore death becomes a full stop for them. Therefore, they are worried about death. These questions, when they are not asked by them, then they cannot move forward. And also, the fact is, whether one has a duration of life which is very small or which is humongous, like Lord Brahma. Brahma has got, in our estimation, he has got 311 trillion years plus. But is that giving him automatically anything better than us? In the ultimate question, that is something that we need to think over. Nothing is possible unless the Supreme Lord is actually providing it. And therefore, one has to take to worshipping the Supreme Lord, performing devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Unless and otherwise, that happens, that change happens, one's life is not actually spent wisely. Therefore, Prabhupada writes, it is not that somebody who raises this question that the Lord is giving them some special thinking and they are able to do this. And for others who are ignoring this question and trying to dive deep into this material world, he is getting a different type of instruction. No, the Supreme Lord gives the same instruction to everybody. The Supreme Lord provides the same opportunities to everybody. But the person who takes up that opportunity and does it, then depending upon what he does, the Lord responds. So if the person, another person does not want this and he ignores it, that's also the Lord responds. As Prabhupada quotes, Matta smritir jnanam apohanam. So from me comes remembrance, forgetfulness, and knowledge. So the Lord equally gives. But when someone is intent on forgetting the Lord, they cannot forget the Lord unless the Lord allows them to forget. So therefore, he has to give forgetfulness also. But for one who wants to remember the Lord, that also comes from the Lord. So the remembrance and the forgetfulness, both are equally provided by the Lord. What is that we want is what we choose. What is our desire? Unless our desire is oriented towards service of the Supreme, we will not make the right choices. If we don't make the right choices, our existence in this world continues forever. Everybody has an option. Each one of us had an option whether or not to be in this Sangha discussing Bhagavatam today. We all chose to be here. Nobody forced us to be here. We all chose to be here. And that helps us because then we can hear what Bhagavatam is describing to us. That hearing is the one which can change, because unless one hears, it cannot. So in that Bhagavad Gita 13:22, Prabhupada very clearly says, unless one is situated in Krishna consciousness, his material consciousness will oblige him to transfer from one body to another because he has got material desires since time immemorial. But he has to change that conception. That change can be effected only by hearing from authoritative sources. Very clearly, Krishna points out, hearing from authoritative sources is the only way to change our consciousness. It cannot be done otherwise. Unless the living entity submits himself to this hearing process, submits himself to an authority, then only he can give up his long held desires in relation to this material world. Otherwise, those desires are the ones which will dominate him. And when he keeps on hearing, then that reduces his desire to dominate this material world, dominate material nature. When he does that, he slowly starts to see the enjoyment that is there in spiritual aspects. And slowly but surely, by continuing to engage in that spiritual path, one sees the futility of engaging in material nature. And therefore, he gives that up. Unless one comes to this platform of hearing and then chanting the Lord's names and his glories as a result of hearing properly and remembering the Lord, these three are the fundamental aspects which will enable us to move forward. Without having these fundamental aspects in our daily life, it is not going to be possible. So here Brahma is instructing Priyavrata, as I have said to you before, nobody can not accept the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when they accept that order in the right way, then there is a path which will take us back to him. But when we ignore, then you have to accept this body, birth after birth after birth, because we are thinking we are getting born when we are just being placed in a body. And that biggest illusion that we create for ourselves by connecting ourselves with this body is the cause for every aspect of what we have in this life. So Brahma is asking Priyavrata that you disregard all other things but take to the devotional service of the Lord. But devotional service is not determinant upon where you live, how you live, what activities you perform. In every stage of life, in every activity of life, you can still invoke devotional service. You can still be connected to the Lord. You can still actually have that ability to continue to serve the Lord in despite of every other external circumstance that might be in. Don't think that you can only serve the Lord in one way. You can serve the Lord in many, many ways, and therefore accept this request of your father to come back to this position, take over the rulership, and provide proper guidance to the citizens. That is the point that Lord Brahma is bringing out to Priyavrata. And that is the underlying thing that we need to take from this. That it is not as though that only one can do service to the Lord in a particular state. Only being a brahmachari or a sannyasi is the only way to serve the Lord. No. Being a grahastha, you can serve. Being a vanaprastha, you can serve. In whatever stage of life you are, you can serve. In whatever occupation that you are, you can still serve. So, therefore, the point that is given to us is that we have to take to the devotional service of the Lord despite everything else. And therefore, when we understand that and we do that, we can surely attain to the Supreme Lord in all circumstances. So this was some of my thoughts and realizations on this verse. I ask others to contribute, and if I've made any mistakes, to correct the same. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, wonderful talk, beautiful talk, beautiful talk. Really, the idea is that it's the consciousness which is pure, and that is where Supreme Personality of Godhead resides. And there he is, Priyavrata is asking what he should do, Gunai Karmani Sarvasha. So there it is, really desire to serve the Lord or desire to love the material body. Then this is the very, very good, clearly stated by you, Prabhupada, and the Supreme Personality of God and Brahma as well, all the way through. Thank you very, very, very much. It's very, very wonderful to hear you today. Thank you very much. I just do Dandavat Pranam to your teachings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Nothing is coming from me. It's all from Srila Prabhupada and from the previous acharyas and his current disciples, grand disciples, who are giving us this ability to understand these matters. So
Guru Parampara.
I've been able to say something that is coming from all of them. Thank you, Prabhu.
Guru Parampara, isn't it really?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Headed by Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes, absolutely. Ultimately,
thank you very, very much. I have been wondering so much into this. I like this, I like that, and then suffer it or enjoy it, and then get another body after that. Probably millions of lifetimes, millions and millions of lifetimes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for opening this chapter for me.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So yeah, thank you for enlightening on the body and soul, Prabhuji. But I have one question. I was actually trying to research a bit more about on this particular question. I think in the last month or so, but I couldn't get much information. I thought, okay, probably I would ask you. Maybe you could throw some light. The Krishna's the whole creation, yes, there are 8.4 million species or different types of categories. So when the jiva, in the very, very, very first time, from the spiritual world, when they wanted to enjoy separately from Krishna, yes, he ended up creating all this and stuff like that. So yes, these bodies were not created so randomly. So, but when I looked it upon, on what basis these bodies were created, so what I found out was the jiva has the karma, based on the karma only, the bodies were created, and they had karma from time immemorial, because this is not the first time the Lord has created this whole material manifestation, because this has been ongoing it's untraceable. So do you have any information on that one? In the very first time, how it was all done, the information I've got, it was untraceable, and the jivas always had some kind of bondage or karma, and based on that, the bodies were created.
See, in the purport that we saw, and also in 1322 of Bhagavad Gita, what I see is that the bodies are given based on the desires of the living entity. Of course, those desires create activities, activities create reactions, the reactions create further desires, and then that whole cycle keeps going on and on. So it is how our desires are translated into different kind of bodies. Prabhupada said in variety of ways. Once when he was in Australia, and when he saw that a lot of the Australians, they are very much into water sports and water things, and he said, because they may not have any consciousness of the Lord, but they are enjoying in the water, the Lord will think, okay, you want to enjoy in water, why be so problematic? Having a human body, you can't stay in the water forever. I will give you an aquatic body. You can stay in the water forever, jump and enjoy, like that. So our desire to enjoy will give us. Of course, the flip side of it is not every desire that we have will translate into the body that we will get. If I desire that I want to sit permanently, or I want to sit on the chair of the Prime Minister of this country, if I don't have the Sukruti, if I don't have the I don't deserve that, then yes, my desire might be there. I don't deserve that. So I might be thinking I want to sit in a human form and enjoy everything. But then if I don't have the required positive reactions by which I can enjoy that, maybe I will get a body of a mosquito. I will go and sit on that chair. I will still enjoy, but not in the way in which I am thinking. So yes, the desire is the cause, but then there are other things just beyond desire which determine how or what type of body one might get and what type of enjoyment one might receive in that. That is how I see it. I don't know if that addresses your question. Sorry.
Yeah, so basically what you're trying to say, the desires that the jiva has in the spiritual world, I wanted to go in the water, I wanted to fly. So these desires in the spiritual world, when they originally had to enjoy away from the Supreme Lord, and based on those desires, the bodies were created.
Ultimately, that's how I understand. See, to
Yeah,
satisfy the desires of the living entities is why this whole material creation is done. If this material world is the sum total of all the desires of the living entities which inhabit it. That's how it is.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's sort of giving me information that I'm looking for. Yes, even in the spiritual world, the devotional service is not forced. We always have a choice, and similarly in Vaikuntha, when you are not serving the Vishnu or Supreme Lord, and you have some other desires that you wanted to enjoy away from the Supreme Lord, then yeah, he created this whole world, and eventually Brahma asked a different personality to create progeny and things, stuff like that. Okay, yeah, understood, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
So
Hare
really
Krishna,
speaking,
Prabhuji. Hare
sorry.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams.
Hare Krishna, Master. Dandavat.
Thank you for such a beautiful class. It's not a question actually. I somewhat understand, but I would like to hear from you that we devotees, not like trying to be devotees, we try to serve the Lord, do the devotional service, but the intensity varies. Like sometimes our chanting is so good, and sometimes our mind wanders, although we know we have to focus. So this sometimes, like how can we make it focused all the time? I know prayas, do practice, but I want to listen from you, Prabhuji.
See, the answer again is basically, as Prabhupada quoted over there, Krishna gives us remembrance, forgetfulness, and the knowledge. So our ability to do anything is coming from Krishna, including our ability to serve him through devotional service. So therefore, and Krishna is the creator of material energy also. So if we understand that actually it is one energy, the material energy of Krishna through the material modes is impacting us, which is causing this fluctuation. But we actually want to take shelter of another energy of Krishna, the internal energy. The easiest way is for us to take to the shelter of Krishna. So if two things that we could do, one is actually opening up our heart to Krishna and saying, Krishna, I intensely want to serve you. I do not want these other things that take my concentration, take my focus away from you, and I want to do this. See, you can do this simply by saying, okay, we are doing our chanting. We can have a commitment to saying, okay, the next mantra, I am going to have my fullest concentration on that alone. I am not going to have anything else. Don't think about the next round, the whole round, or the 16 or whatever is remaining. Just the next mantra. Or even you can take it down to a even lower level and say, the next syllable of the Maha Mantra, I want to concentrate. And I want to do this. And you can pray to Krishna, Krishna, give me that ability to do. And keep doing that step by step, step by step. Yes, see, we have to accept that we are not yet at a stage where we have the power to resist material nature. Therefore, our only hope lies in accepting that and going to Krishna and saying, this material energy is yours. So if you want, you can keep that away, or you can keep that from impacting me. Therefore, I want to serve you. Therefore, please allow me to do that. Prayer is a very strong, it gives us a very strong barrier against it. If we are submissive to Krishna and we actually go to Krishna with that mood, I'm sure Krishna will satisfy us.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. Yeah, I like it. somebody has to remind me all the time that pray, pray, continue asking, begging Krishna. He will definitely listen to you. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Just adding to like what you mentioned about the chanting as well. I was sharing in one of the group the other day about an instruction from our Guru Maharaj. What he says is like every time you do chanting, do not think of like you have done 14th round or 15th round or 16th round. But for with moving of each and every bead, you should think that you are actually coming close to Krishna. And you should pray for the mercy of Krishna, that you ask him that you give his mercy so that we can come closer to him. So that's how our intention should be when we are doing chanting. It's not that we have done like 13th round, 14th round. So when we are moving the counting beats as well, we keep thinking like, oh, I've done 6th round, 7th round or 8th. But yeah, our main intention should be that with the moving of each bead, we should pray sincerely to Krishna that give me that mercy, give me that empowerment, that I sincerely pray to you so that I come closer to you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Just thinking of this question about jealousiness, Prabhu. Maharaj Priyavata is already an exalted personality. So why does he actually think of, why does he be jealous? Or, what would be the reason that he wanted to actually enjoy as similar to Krishna?
In this case, I see the way in which I connected this thought was that it is not addressing that Priyavrata has got jealousy, but it is the jealousy which leads to us coming to this material world. So, and of course, therefore, getting out of this is giving up the jealousy, and that is what Priyavrata is doing. But Priyavrata's point was that that is possible in the state in which he currently was, following his Guru, Narad Muni's instruction of giving up this world. Whereas what Brahma is trying to teach him is, yes, we are in this world. Yes, we have to get out of this world. Therefore, devotional service is the ultimate, that which includes giving up the jealousy towards the Lord. But giving up that jealousy can be performed in any stage or in any activity. So don't think that this is only possible there. It is possible in everything. Therefore, kindly accept the request from your father to take up the position of the king and the ruler and guide everybody properly. That's how I connected it.
Okay.
It's not that showing that Priyavrata like has jealousy specifically at this point, but that is the original cause for us to come down. That's how I read it.
Okay, yeah. So because it doesn't really mention clearly that Priyavrata wants to enjoy in that way, and he's trying to be jealous as such. So yeah, I understand like where you're coming from. So yeah, that could be the reason. Yes, exactly. Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Medhavi Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
very much for the wonderful class and all the input from other devotees. Very nice to hear that. Now, the point which Prabhu was mentioning about jealousy, actually, yesterday when we had a class and the Yamuna was giving the class, and here it is actually the jealousy here means jealousy is that we are not accepting the authority. The Supreme Personality of Godhead and Brahma said to Priyavrata to not be jealous. And here the jealousy means not accepting the authority. And that's what it is. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Sure.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Beautiful,
Mataji.
beautiful.
This is the beauty of discussion, because everybody can bring in different perspectives to it, and then we can understand it. Just like a diamond has got so many sides, and each person can bring the different perspectives, and then we can see the full diamond and all the different facets. And the more the facets it's got, the more the diamond is beautiful, like that. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
So really, we are looking at different perspectives, and those perspectives mean really different choices we are making. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay.
Yeah, nice class, Prabhu. I really am appreciating everybody's participation, and that's awesome. Haribol, thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. And thank you for your service of always being present and making sure that this facility is available for each one of us to participate and hear. Thank you very much. Okay.
Yes, Prabhu, you have opened the floodgates of more and more devotees participating in it. Thank you very, very, very much.
Thank you. Okay. Is there anybody else who has got any other contributions to make? If not, we'll finish here. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam
Ki jai.
Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta
Grace
Bhaktivinda
Medhavi Das
ki
Prabhu Ji
jai.
ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.